BlackCatCrafts, the channel that helps you personalize your Halloween village. Today's craft is another deadly plant. It mixes the beautiful purple orchid with the tentacles of a stinging jellyfish. It's one of our deadly plant series, so check out this link for the DIY Audrey 2 daffodil. It's another carnivorous plant. So supplies. To make this, you'll need some simple supplies. I got the flowers from the dollar store, bought some wire cutters, used some hot glue, Sculpey clay, rocks, and also some tweezers were helpful. I named him Bill, and we start by making Bill the jellyfish flower's bell. The bell is the round part of a jellyfish if you're not familiar with their anatomy. It's where the animals they take in are digested. So it's easy as taking a hunk of clay and making a ball. From here you'll want to make the ball hollow inside because the jellyfish, while it looks solid from the outside, actually is hollow in the middle. That's where they do all their digesting. So you'll do this. I used a tool that came in the Sculpey. You could use pretty much anything you have around the house if you don't have one. So go ahead and hollow it out. Takes a little bit of time, but is actually really easy. So if you're a beginning crafter, this is a great project to give a try. So once you have it like you like, then you'll want to move forward to step 2, the tentacles. Now this video will show you how to make tentacles in 3 ways. I like the purple, but I also did a 2-color and a 3-color option. So you can check those out and decide which one's right for your project. Or in my case, I used all 3. So to make the tentacles, you'll get a lump of clay in any color that attracts you. And simply roll it out into a cylinder. Now I'm pushing one end, I'm using a little bit more pressure to make it pointed. I like that look. If you look at a jellyfish, their tentacles do tend to taper to a point. So that is what I did here. Now for my look, I wanted nothing perfectly round. I wanted it to actually be a little bit flat. This was a stylistic choice for me and nothing that I would say you're required to do. So do what feels right for you. And once you have it about the thickness you want, then start bending it. You want this to look natural, look like it's undulating in the air. And then at several points in the process, you'll want to take a peek at your flower, the bell, and the tentacle to make sure it all works. So this is very soft right now. This clay has to be cooked in an oven. So at this point, I can make all the adjustments I need to length and to size to make sure that my final product will work great. So I really like what I've got, so I'm going to move forward and show you option 2, which is how to make a 2-color swirled tentacle. So just like before, get this time 2 balls of Sculpey clay and roll them out. You don't have to choose black and purple. My orchid, the orchids I got from the dollar store happen to be that color, so I wanted to continue that look. But you could certainly do a set of contrasting colors if that's what your village is all about. I could see doing this in orange because that's a common color. Look really cool, maybe in orange and red. So give a few colors a try and see what you like best. So you'll see here that I'm rolling it into a ball. I really like to get a nice marbling, and that's the best way I found to do it. So you roll it into a ball, and then from here, you go back and roll it out again. Now here you'll see that it starts to twist together. So it's got a nice, interesting look. And to amplify it, you saw there, I picked it up and I gave it a twist. Do that as much or as little or never, depending on the look that you prefer. This is your spooky town after all. And just like before, as I roll out the tentacle, I'm choosing one end to be the tip of the tentacle and the other to be the base. And then you don't see it here, but I am cutting it to length. I didn't want it to be that long. It was too long for this particular project. Just like before, to be consistent, I'm gently flattening it. And then I'll pick it up off my nonstick surface and start to form the tentacle. This time I did a little curl at the end. That one is actually going to end up holding a skull I glue on later. and I gently form the tentacle into the shape that I want, and then I set it aside to dry. So you want to make at least 3 tentacles per bell. I would recommend closer to 5 to 7. Now I promised you a total of 3 options. The 3-color swirl is my favorite. I went with the first 2 that I did before, so they were in the flower already, and then I thought the blood red really looked fantastic with these 3 colors, so I add that in. Same process as before. Roll out the colors into a lumpy log. Perfection is not required here. In fact, you might even get better marbling if it is more lumpy than perfect. And you'll notice the red is a smaller amount. I did that as a stylistic choice. You could experiment with 3 colors that are the same amounts, or 2 that are smaller and 1 that's bigger. I twist them together, and just like before, I roll them into a ball. The number of twists is not a science, it's more of an art. You want to combine them, but not overly much, is the look you're going for. So once you have your ball, then you roll it back into a log, and then again, I'm giving it some twists. I love that look. It really works for me. So I'm not going for uniformity there. You can see I concentrated more on one end than the other, left the middle a little purple and black. It's just what worked for me. And because this was too long, I'm actually going to get 2 tentacles out of that one marbled tentacle, because my project is rather small. These are, they do take up quite a bit of space, so just keep that in mind as you're forming it, that each bell is going to have 3 to 7 of these, and so it ends up being a rather large project. So once you have all of those made, pop them in the oven according to your air dry clay's directions. Then once they are ready to go, you can do the assembly. So here I've got the bell glued to the flowers. You may need to add some wire to your flowers for support. It depends on how they're made. So make that assessment. And then start on your base. So these are heavy. So you will need a counterweight at the bottom. So you can see here I've started to glue rocks to the base of the flowers. I added a skull for good looks. I ended up with twice that number of rocks in the final project. Now to assemble the project, you'll need to have it laying down on your nonstick mat. I used the extra Sculpey clay to help support the arms as they dried. So super glue works better than hot glue here, and you'll need to do it in stages to get all of the arms on your piece. It took a long time for it to completely dry because I was using a lot of super glue, but the end is fantastic. I glued a skull on one of the purple arms, as you see on the right there. I've got it displayed next to the Audrey 2 inspired Carnivorous daffodils. I've got it with the witch. She's walking her cat. I'm actually going to repaint her in a future video. And I did a dupe of the pumpkin patch sign. It's down at the bottom there. So check out my other video to see that one. I've got this near my Grimsley's greenhouse. So I've got a very spooky pumpkin patch with scary plants. It works really well with Grimsley's, and I can't wait to see how yours looks. So don't forget to share pictures. Please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel to get more ideas, and of course share with anyone who shares your passion for all things Halloween and crafts. I've got some other videos you can check out too, and I hope to see you again soon.